Falcons fans, there's a lot going on with the Falcons, and we have a story today that could be a glimpse into the team's future. Before we dive into today's big news, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any updates this offseason. Let's get to it. The Atlanta Falcons have a lot of questions to answer this offseason. While the Kirk Cousins situation is grabbing most of the headlines, there's another big issue that can't be ignored. This defense needs some serious help. Let's face it, the Falcons' front seven was a problem last season. They ranked near the bottom of the league in pressure rate, sacks, and yards allowed per rush. That has to change if Atlanta wants to end its playoff drought, and it looks like the team is already making moves in the right direction. One player to keep an eye on? Ole Miss linebacker Chris Paul Jr. According to Justin Mello of the Draft Network, the Falcons were one of 13 teams that met with Paul at the Senior Bowl last week. But here's where it gets interesting. Paul specifically mentioned that his best meetings were with the Falcons coaching staff. Here's what Paul had to say. I feel like I've had a great interview with every team I've talked to. A couple of teams that I thought were really good were the Falcons. I talked to them multiple times. It was a real blessing. This is something I've worked hard for my whole life. Now, players are always careful with their words during draft season, but the fact that Paul singled out Atlanta is worth noting. And it's not hard to see why the Falcons might be interested. Paul had a monster season at Ole Miss, leading the Rebels with 88 tackles and 11 tackles for loss. He dominated in both the East-West Shrine game and the Senior Bowl, proving that he can be an impact player at the next level. His advanced stats back that up, too. According to Pro Football Focus, Paul had an elite 87.2 overall grade last season, with an 83.9 pass rushing grade and an 84.6 run defense grade. He was also strong in coverage, earning a 78.1 grade. That's the kind of well-rounded linebacker Atlanta desperately needs. Paul is currently ranked 65th on PFF's top draft board, which means the Falcons could have a shot at taking him in the second or third round. And if they do, he could be a key piece in rebuilding this defense. The Falcons need reinforcements up front, and it seems like they're already doing their homework. But what do you think, Falcons fans? Should Atlanta target Chris Paul Jr. in the draft? Or do you have another prospect in mind? Let me know in the comments. The Atlanta Falcons are shaking things up on the offensive coaching staff, announcing 2 internal promotions that could have a big impact on the 2025 season. T.J. Yates has been promoted from quarterbacks coach to passing game coordinator, while D.J. Williams is becoming the new full-time quarterbacks coach. Both will continue to work with offensive coordinator Zach Robinson as the Falcons look to take their passing attack to the next level. Now, let's talk about what this means for the team. Yates is no stranger to Atlanta. He's been with the Falcons since 2021, starting as a passing game specialist before coaching wide receivers and eventually taking over the QB room last season. His experience as a former NFL quarterback gives him a unique perspective on talent development, something that will be crucial with Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix Jr. in the mix. Williams, on the other hand, is a rising star in the coaching world. He joined the Falcons last season after spending 5 years as an offensive assistant with the Saints. He may not have played in the NFL, but his experience as a quarterback at Grambling State, plus his football pedigree as the son of Super Bowl-winning QB Doug Williams, makes him a fascinating addition to this team. The Falcons' passing game has had its ups and downs in 2024. They finished the season ranked 5th in total passing yards, with Cousins and Penix combining for over 4,000 yards. But here's where things got tricky. They ranked just 20th in passing touchdowns and a brutal 29th in interceptions. Cousins threw a league-high 16 interceptions, while Penix had 3 interceptions in his 3 starts. Clearly, the talent is there, but consistency is the issue. That's where Yates and Williams come in. Their job will be to maximize the potential of this QB room, whether it's helping Cousins reduce turnovers or accelerating Penix's development as the future of the franchise. So, what do you think, Falcons fans? Will these coaching changes make a difference? Can Yates and Williams help take this passing attack to an elite level? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Now, the Falcons were relatively healthy in 2024, but as always, injuries took their toll. Some of the guys we lost were absolutely crucial pieces, and their absence was felt all season. Others were young players who never got a chance to prove themselves but could be major difference makers this year. So, let's take a look at a few names you need to keep an eye on as they make their comeback. Young-Ho Koo, can he return to elite form? Let's start with one of the most reliable players Atlanta has had in recent years, Young-Ho Koo. Or at least, he was reliable until injuries derailed his 2024 season. We know Koo was dealing with something before landing on injured reserve, but we never really knew how much it affected him. What we do know is that after starting strong, nailing 15 of his first 17 kicks, his accuracy suddenly took a nosedive. He missed 5 of his next 7 attempts and finished the year with a career-high 9 missed field goals. For a team that lost multiple one-score games, those missed kicks were brutal. If Koo can get back to his old form and be one of the league's most consistent kickers again, that alone could flip some of those close losses into wins in 2025. Troy Anderson, a defensive star in the making? Falcons fans, do you remember what Anderson did against the Saints in Week 4? 17 tackles. The pick 6. He was all over the field, and it looked like he was about to have a breakout season until injuries cut it short. After that, he barely played, and when he did, he just wasn't the same. Now, here's the thing, when healthy, Anderson has everything you want in a modern linebacker. He's fast, he can cover, and he's got a nose for the football. The Falcons desperately missed his athleticism last year, and if he stays healthy, he could be the X-factor this defense needs in 2025. Bralon Trice, the pass rush boost we never got. Unlike Koo and Anderson, we never even got to see Trice in action last season. The rookie edge rusher was supposed to be a key piece in fixing Atlanta's struggling pass rush, but an injury in preseason wiped out his entire year. Now, let's be real, Trice probably isn't a guy who's going to rack up 15 sacks a season. But what he can do is be a force against the run and a steady presence in the pass rush, something Atlanta desperately needs. If he comes back strong, he could be a huge help for a defense that needs all the pressure he can get. DeMarco Hellams, the safety depth we needed. Falcons fans, let's not forget about Hellams. We got a glimpse of him in 2023, and he showed a lot of promise. He wasn't a superstar, but he was solid in coverage, a sure tackler, and brought some real physicality to the secondary. Unfortunately, he missed all of 2024, and the Falcons felt it. Safety depth was an issue last year, and if Hellams can get back to where he was before the injury, or even take another step forward, he could be a major piece of this defense. With Jeff Ulbrich now calling the shots, it'll be interesting to see how he fits into the new scheme. Rondale Moore, a speed weapon for the offense? Now, this one is a bit different. Moore is actually a free agent. But the Falcons clearly had big plans for him before he got hurt last summer, and considering how bad their receiver depth was in 2024, they might be looking to bring him back. More speed and versatility could add an extra wrinkle to this offense, especially if he's splitting time with Ray McCloud in the slot. Plus, he's got experience in the return game, which is another area where the Falcons could use a boost. If they decide to re-sign him, he could be a sneaky good weapon in 2025. Final thoughts, who will make the biggest impact? Alright, Falcons fans, now it's your turn. Who do you think will be the biggest difference maker in 2025? Will it be Koo getting back to his clutch ways? Anderson finally breaking out? Trice bringing some much-needed pass rush? Or maybe Hellams locking things down in the secondary? Let me know what you think in the comments. And don't forget, like this video, subscribe to the channel. Go Falcons!